Hello and welcome to Memorial Theft, my journaling channel. Lexia Velica here. That was a little bit awkward. It's been a while. I've been sick. I might sound a little bit yucky, disgusting, and there might be some weird cuts in this video as I have to edit out any potential coughing. But I vowed that I would get out a video at some point this week because I missed the regular Monday upload due to being really in the throes of the plague, and I have to get something out. Or I want to get something out. I don't want to make you think that I'm doing this for any reason other than I absolutely want to and I want to hold myself accountable. But anyways, happy Zinetober. Zinetober is a special thing that I'm doing for the month of October that other people also do. Where in lieu of any other art challenge such as the controversial Inktober or Peachtober or anything like that, you spend every day of October making a zine, or at least making one zine and just doing zine-related activities all month long. And zines are something I'm really passionate about. I really love zines. I make a lot of them. I talk about them a lot, and I have monthly per-zines that I do as a form of journaling. And I really want to talk about how zines can be a form of journaling and how you can incorporate them in your journaling practice for more creative outlets and means of self-expression. So just what we have here is a couple examples of a couple of my zines. The ones at the top here are all the zines that I've made for Zinetober so far. Actually, that's not all of them. There's one more. This is a zine that I made today called Beastline. It's a role-playing game zine. But these are all the zines that I made for the month of October so far. And then here we have my first two issues of my per-zine, which is the most closest thing that I do to journaling with my zines that I have available to show off to you guys. But first, let's answer a couple questions about what are zines. Now, a zine, for those who are unaware, are independently produced, limited-run booklets that can be about anything and everything. They are typically done under a do-it-yourself DIY ethos, and popular forms of zines include the personal zine, which are also called per-zines. There's also fan zines, which are made by fans of something to talk about something they enjoy. And then other zine types that are described based on their content, such as photography zines or poetry zines. But there's a whole massive world of potential things out there that we can consider zines. The sky is truly the limit. A zine can, like I said, truly be about anything and everything. They can also be made digitally or by hand, and copies are often made with a copy machine. One important thing to note about zines is they are not meant to be commercial successes or produce a lot of money. They are meant to get your voice out there in a physical form and connect with others and just be as accessible as possible. So how do you make a zine? So there's a lot of different types of zines and template formats. The first one I'm going to tell you about is the mini zine, which is what the small zines that I had up here were. To make a mini zine, you need a standard 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, which you will fold hot dog style or vertically. And something that you can use that's really helpful for getting good folds in your zine is using a bone folder, which is this piece of plastic that's shaped like this, and you can just press down to get even crisper folds. And I do it often because I'm genuinely very bad at folding. A lot of my zines are very sloppily folded, and you can see in the scans that I do of the cover that there's pieces of paper sticking out everywhere. It's just not looking very even, but I try my best. Oh, so you fold that, then you fold it in half, and then you fold it in half again. Which is a little tricky because the paper's getting kind of thick. And I like to also fold down the other sides again with the bone folder. Then you open it up, fold it hamburger style. I also use it to flatten this. And then you use a pair of scissors to cut this crease right here. And you're stopping right in the middle where those two folds intersect. So you want to be careful to make sure you get on the fold that you're cutting on. And you just cut until you're right here. Now this next step is a little bit tricky. You will unfold the zine, fold it vertically again, and then pull out these two sections like this, And so you see it's like forming pages, and then you will fold like this. And I always flatten the fold. And see, now you have a booklet. You can open the pages like this and get all your pages. Now, to figure out what the actual order is of your pages for designing the content and describing the content, you can mark it down using any writing instruments. The first page, second page, third page, fourth page, fifth page, sixth, seventh, and eighth. So that way, when you unfold the zine and lay it out flat, you can see the order of the pages. Now, I've done this so many times that I know without having to cut and fold it together what the pages orders are. Usually it's going to be your front cover is going to be on this corner, and then your second page, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, just like it's laid out right here. I also, when I make zines digitally, have a digital template that lays it out all for me. And many digital templates are also available for making zines digitally, and I will link many of them in the description below. Now, other formats of zines that are very popular is using a standard 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and just simply folding them. Now, something important to note with your pages when you do it this way is that you will have to do page counts that are in increments of 4. This is called a signature, and that is because when you fold the page in half, you will end up having 4 individual pages. This front cover, this next page, and then this page. And in order to figure out what the exact page arrangement is going to be for your zine, I suggest making a dummy zine out of just scrap pieces of paper that are the correct size, folding them, and then putting them together. You just put the sheets of paper inside each other like this until you have your booklet. And the same way as the other zine, the mini zine, you will just write what page each page is, going through it as you were a normal booklet. And that way, when you take the pages out, you will see exactly what pages are on each side, and that'll help you when you design your zine. And also note that they are double-sided. So if you are going to be using a printer that has either double-siding functionality, or you are going to manually arrange the paper so you can print double-sided, you need to keep in mind what page has what actual pages on it, and then what pages are on the back side of the zine. So I find it very helpful to create a dummy zine like this. I'm going to link in the description a really good video that has advice on how to determine the page count and page arrangement for different zines. This video is by, I believe, Cat Moth Crow. I'm going to link that video in the description. And then for binding your zine, if you're making a mini zine, you don't need to bind your zine because it is already bound with the piece of paper. But for binding a zine like this, like you arrange, let me arrange the sheets again. You can bind it in one of 2 most popular ways. You can either use a stapler to staple right on the bind. For a piece of zine that's this big, on this big of a piece of paper, you may not be able to reach with a normal zine. That's why I suggest using a long arm stapler, or you can open up the zine and put a piece of cardboard or other hard surface beneath the zine, the binding of the zine, and staple it, and then you just flip it around and then you push the ends of the staple down together so it's properly bound. Or you can use a needle and thread to stitch the binding. and I will link some videos in the description of easy ways to do zine binding using this method. I always have to look it up every single time because I always forget and I can never do it on my own for the first time. But usually most of the zines that I make, including my monthly per zine, is just bound with staples. I usually don't make zines that are that thick. I usually have to do that for my journaling games anytime I print out physical copies of those. There are other ways you can also make zines, and there are programs that can do it for you. There's most notably, there is the really quirky program that I find really endearing called Electric Zine Maker that I will also link in the description. It is a free program you can use to create zines in a Kid Pix-esque kind of interface. It's a little bit overwhelming, but it's very charming and has some really interesting tools, though it lacks a little bit of certain functionality that I wish one would prefer it would have, that you can get with other graphic manipulation programs like Photoshop or Procreate, but I still find it very enjoyable for the experience, and I've made some pretty fun zines, including zines that I made for Zinetober. So a little other piece of advice about zines before we talk about how zines can be used in your journaling. If you're going to make a black and white zine, which most zines are because printing in color is very expensive unless you have your own printer, I suggest using colorful paper just to add that splash of color and just kind of add a little bit of life and charm to your piece. A lot of my mini zines especially are printed on another sheet of paper, a printed sheet of colored paper, and then for my monthly per zine, which is that 8.5 by 11 folded size, I will usually print the front cover and obviously the inside front cover content on a different color sheet of paper just to make it look really nice. A couple things that if you get really into zines and you want to invest a little bit into it and make things better, other than getting a bone folder, which is a total lifesaver, but if you don't have a bones folder, you can always use your fingernail or you can use a credit card. I just happen to have access to a bone folder, so I've never used those methods personally. But another thing that's worthwhile to get is the aforementioned long arm stapler, but also a guillotine paper cutter is also super helpful for cutting down your zines to the proper format. I find it especially helpful because I made a little bit of an oopsie when designing my journaling games so that they are very strangely sized, and I have to cut off a lot of excess paper in order to bind them properly. And for making zines, really don't get too caught up on what a zine should look like. You don't have to make your zine look like any other zine out there if you don't want to. There's no one set look a zine must have. Also, printing can get really expensive whether you have a printer of your own or not. I personally own two printers that I use for different purposes. I own a Canon Pixma IX6820, I think, which I use only for nice borderless prints or like expensive, higher quality looking zines. And I also own an Epson EcoTint ET2800 that I use for most of my other zine printing in color and black and white because ink is just so much cheaper since it has the ink bottles that you refill it with. Also, just because you made a zine does not mean you have to share the zine to the world or sell it for anyone. In fact, just because you make zines doesn't mean you have to sell them at all and try to make money off of them, because making money off of zines is not very profitable avenue inherently. It's meant primarily for self-expression and for the sake of it and for building community with other zinesters, which is not to say that you can't make any money off of it. It's just usually the money that you make is just going to be enough to cover the base cost for printing and producing your zines. So now for what we're all here for, using zines as a form of journaling. So you can use your zines as a form of journaling in a number of ways, primarily by making per zines, which are, like I said, personal zines. Zines about topics that relate to you and your experiences and your thoughts and your feelings, just anything about you or anything that would constitute in the realm of being personal. Something worth noting when I talk about the ways that zines and journaling can intersect is that journaling ultimately has a very loose definition and can essentially be anything, much in the same way that zines can essentially be anything. Anything that serves the function of a journal that documents your thoughts, feelings, experiences, etc. can be considered a form of journaling. So expand your horizons and consider what you can make journaling do for you. Also worth noting, these are only suggestions, as journaling is also very personal for everyone and different things work for different people. This is simply a list of ideas I've had, most of which I've personally tried. I personally have the Perzine series Curse Bearer Confidential that I showed you earlier. I release it once a month, and it includes these mini articles on anything that's on my mind. It's essentially a zine format newsletter. The zine I write digitally, and then I print out to arrange as layouts on pieces of cardstock. And then I use my various art supplies in order to draw the illustrations and just kind of arrange things in a nice, fun, creative way that I wouldn't be able to do as easily in a strictly digital format. Other things you can do with zines is you could make a zine in the form of a guided journal to fill out over a span of time, or create zine-specific journal pages that can be released all together at once. You can also turn your existing journal pages and spreads into zine pages that you can compile together as summaries of a period of your life or meditations on a particular subject. Zines can also be an excellent place to vent your frustrations and emotions regarding a particular subject or thing, since they have no rules, and the length of a zine that you can decide up front requires that you spend a certain amount of pages on your subject, giving you ample room to dwell on anything that you need to think about more in depth. Making zines on a regular basis and having them reflect your current self is also an excellent way to track your changing interests and concerns over a period of time. Consider also that the purpose of your journals and how they might be adapted beneficially to a zine format. Your reading journals could easily become a reading wrap-up zine, where you cover your thoughts on books you read over a specific period of time. And so that's all that I really have for this video. It was really a short one that I owed you, and I just wanted to talk about zines because it's Zinetober. It's all the month of zines for me. And I hope that with this video, I've exposed you to some new interesting things that you've never heard about before, or you've always wanted to know a little bit more about but haven't gotten the opportunity to. I apologize if this is a weird, sloppy video. I am still recovering from illness, but I'm trying my best to get this out to you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, I suppose. I should probably be saying these YouTuber things now, and I will see you soon.